Hello everybody, my name is Benji and welcome back to Satisfactory. This is not anything revolving around the Let's Play, this is another tutorial video, but you probably figured that out from the title. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to create plastic and rubber with zero waste, doubling your output at the same time. This method is called recycling, and it is a major part of the oil process in mid to late game Satisfactory. Oil is unlocked in tier 5 of the hub, and with that you can also unlock alternate recipes, such as the recycled rubber and recycled plastic recipes, which are both required for this method to work. In addition to this, though, you're also going to either need the tier 7 bauxite refinement for the blender, or you're going to need the tier, I believe it's tier 6, alternate fluid packaging, or alternate fluid transport, in order to have this system work. The alternate recipes that you are going to need, in the event that you do the packager loop, which I explained in my fuel tutorial, link in the description, you're going to need the following alternate recipes. For the packager loop, you're going to need the recycled plastic or recycled rubber, depending on which one you choose. And you're going to need the diluted packaged fuel alternate recipe. If you go the route of the blender, you are going to still need the recycled plastic or recycled rubber, but you're also going to need the alternate diluted blend fuel recipe. So, with all of the prerequisite requirements out of the way, let's get started. I am going to be starting off the tutorial with plastic because it is the easiest one for you to actually be able to do. It requires the least amount of machines out of all of the machines that you need for this build. The rubber recycling in order to make plastic as an end product is going to be a little more complicated. Also, I think I said we were starting with plastic. Plastic is the start of the system. It's going to be giving us rubber at the end of the line. So I am working with a normal node over there because it's the only node I have left around here that hasn't been used for another project. So I've got 120 oil coming into the system, and I actually don't think I connected it. Give me 1 second. Don't worry, this system is tileable. You may have to do some calculations on your own. However, if you want to just do multiples of 120, that will work as well. So the 120 goes into 4 of these, making plastic. The plastic makes this heavy oil residue byproduct. You can handle that a couple of ways. Number one, what most people do in the beginning and what I did in the beginning is you just take it, turn it into petroleum coke, stick it in a resource sink. That's the space elevator. Stick it in a resource sink, awesome sink, call it a day, and be done with. That's inefficient and boring. We're not doing that. We're actually making something out of the heavy oil residue. This is where the blender comes in. The blender, we're just going to place it over here, roughly. Like right there. And we're going to go over to the diluted blend fuel. Now, we're going to take this and underclock it to 80% because that's going to do the 40 heavy oil residue, which is how much we're producing. And this also, if you'll notice, requires a water input. It requires the same amount of water in as you're getting fuel out. So in this case, it would need 80 rather, but we're just going to go with 120 because it's going to be really easy for me to do. Now that you have this making the fuel, and let's say we already went on ahead and piped all of this together, now we can actually start on the recycling process, which I'm just going to put right here. You'll notice that the recycled rubber recipe requires plastic as an input and fuel. So that's why we're making the fuel, and that's also why we're making the plastic. Now, with this system, we're making 80 plastic and 80 fuel. So we're going to need 2 of these to get us 60, and then we're going to need another one. Recycled rubber. Recycled rubber. That gets us 60. So this is going to need the extra 20. So 66.6667%. 2/3%, basically. And now you can go on ahead, take the liberty, creative liberty, whatever you want to do, and just pipe and belt all of these systems together, which I'm going to go do right now. So I took some creative spaghetti liberties here on my little belting and piping method. I didn't really try to make things look super neat because this is all just going to get dismantled here in a moment anyway. But we're going to grab the efficiency hand checker tool and just show some things here. So you'll see that that is the 80 and 80 that we want and that we need. And this out here at the end is the 160 that we're getting out. So yes, the 80 plastic, 160 rubber. A lot better than if we had just taken 120 oil and turned it straight into 80 oil, or straight into 80 rubber. We're getting double the amount, double the fun. And over here, you can hopefully see the blender start to work momentarily. It always takes a second for everything to warm up with the pipes and whatnot, but you can see here as well the 40 and 40. And that is doing more than it's necessary. There it goes, 80 and 80. There goes the blender, which is still glitched for me. I don't really know why. I don't think it's glitched for anybody else, which is the sad part. But that's okay. We should see these refineries working here any second. Anybody who watches the Let's Play series will recognize this whole setup because I've done it a billion times. I did it a whole bunch right there. I did a whole bunch way farther over that way. And I did it a whole bunch way over there for the high-speed connectors. And even farther off in the distance. You can kinda see it, but you can see it more on the map. I did it over here for the fused modular frames and stuff as well. And we're not done with this whole thing either. We're gonna end up needing to do it again at some point. And there goes the rubber. So just proof of concept, showing you guys that it works. Let's move on to the more complicated one, which is getting rubber turned into plastic. That one's a lot more complex. See you in a second. So right away, you're gonna notice that the system is very, very similar to the first system, meaning that we start the same way and we end the same way. We start with 4 refineries making the rubber. I'm gonna keep getting those mixed up, and I'm very sorry about it. But we start with the 4 making the first product, and then we end with the 3 with the 1 a little underclocked in order to make the final product. However, here's where things get weird. Heavy oil residue is produced at twice the rate in rubber as it is in plastic. Plastics makes 10, rubber makes 20. So in order to process this correctly, you actually need 2 buildings. You need 1 refinery and 1 blender. And if you do the packager loop, you're obviously going to need the diluted alternate and stuff. The diluted packaged alternate. But I'm not really going into any of that. So let me go check the numbers while the autosave is happening, and I'll be back with you. So this system breaks into 2 halves. The blender, or diluted packaged alternate, is going to be producing 40 of the fuel, and the other one is going to be producing the other 40 of the fuel. So this is going to take 60 of the heavy oil residue, and this is actually going to take 20 of the heavy oil residue. So that rounds out to the 80 heavy oil residue, just like you had beforehand, except this time, it's 2 machines, 1 blender, 1 refinery. Each machine is building half of the fuel. Ouch. That hurt. Also hurt my feelings. You get so used to having the hover pack that the second you don't have the hover pack anymore, you don't know what to do with your life. I just didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Let me finish this. That pipe has now been connected, and we can turn on the system for a proof of concept. Just like that. So we get the hand checker tool out here. Forgot a belt. 80 and 80, because this is literally the exact same piece. But then we grab this pipe here, 80 and 80, and 80 and 80. Imagine that. Now, the reason why we have to go through all of these completely unnecessary steps, even though they're not completely unnecessary, they're very necessary. The reason why we have to go through all of this is because this isn't a 1-to-1 ratio, but neither is this. This is a 1-to-2 ratio, and this is a 3-to-2 ratio. Overall, with this whole system, it becomes a 1-to-1, because you've got a 3-to-2 and a 1-to-2. In total, that's a 4-to-4, which simplifies to a 1-to-1. 80 heavy oil residue in, required 80 to make the fuel, 80 fuel out, 80 fuel required to make the plastic. And then the plastic is 160, which is double what you would be getting out of this on its own. This can be used in order to do a couple of things. First of all, it's used to help with your oil so that you don't have to get as much of it. You could use your oil more efficiently, which everybody loves using oil more efficiently. There's not that much of it on the map. There's a bunch over here on the Gold Coast, which is why we've got a major production hub over here. There's a bunch up here that we'll be getting to shortly, .tm. And there's a bunch in the Blue Crater Lake. That's about it, other than the bit that we have at Orange Heaven. So you need to be sparing with the amount of oil that you're actually using in the world. This is a really good way to conserve on that. You can also make circuit boards out of oil, like purely oil with no waste. That's going to be another tutorial video, however. I'm not going to cover that in this one. Right now, I just want to show the plastic is working. Despite it taking a while to get warmed up, it always takes a while to get warmed up. There comes some more. I just want to get a shot of the plastic actually coming down the belt, please. Please. Here we go. Now we're gonna get a shot of it actually coming down. He said with hope in his eyes. Why does that have two cable connected to it? Interesting. There it goes. And there comes some more. So that proves that the system does indeed, in fact, work. And this is how you can get zero waste plastic and oil while simultaneously doubling your output. But that is all I have for you today, so thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Feels good to be in Satisfactory and have a really good frame rate. And I really enjoy making these tutorials because even if I'm not a huge content creator, I feel like if this video reaches somebody that needs it somehow, I'm doing my part. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, do svidania, a wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Later.